Welcome to the Uncensored Self Podcast. I am your host, Ryan Gillen, and on this show, ambitious women learn how to create a life they're obsessed with, without the hustle, without the grind, without torturing ourselves, and without following anybody else's rules. This podcast is all about creating our own rules, owning our identity as creator, and hitting every single goal we set for ourselves. Together, we're redefining success on our terms and building lives that look as good as they feel. Let's dive in. Let's talk about waiting and wanting and how they are killing your vibe. Welcome back to the Uncensored Self Podcast. I am your host, Ryan Gillen, and today we are going to talk about two very, very important things that are keeping you from being your uncensored self, from getting what you want, and it is waiting and wanting. And first, I want to give credit to my mentor, Stacey Baronfest. Stacey B is what I refer to her as. You guys will hear me talk about her often. She calls this if-then thinking, right? If this happens, then I will do that. If this happens, then I will do that. Or when this happens, then I will do that. And I call this waiting and wanting, right? We are waiting for something else to happen before we can have what we want. And when we do that, we continually put ourselves in a place of lack. And the sneakiness part of this is that this always feels so logical. So I want to break it apart for you, show you where the gap is, and to really hold up the mirror and ask yourself, are you actually going after what you want, or are you living in this waiting and wanting energy that is consistently keeping you stuck and keeping you small? Okay. And I'm going to give you some real examples of things that I have done over the years. And my guess is you just to draw some illustrations of what do I mean by waiting and wanting. And it's like, once my business is making X amount of dollars, then I will go on this vacation, right? Or once I have done X number of transactions in my business, then I will hire a transaction coordinator. Once this business is at Y dollars in revenue, then I will launch that thing that I really want to do. Once this levels out, then I will do this other thing. Once I pay off this debt, then I will do this thing, right? That is what we're talking about waiting and wanting. We are waiting to have what we want because we think there is something else we have to do first, okay? And again, this feels logical. Because what you might logically be thinking is, Ryan, it doesn't make sense to book this vacation because it's the most expensive vacation I've ever booked and I don't actually have that money. Or you might be thinking, Ryan, it doesn't make sense to hire that person because I'm not making this amount of dollars. Or this business has to be self-sufficient before I can go into this other business. And so this is where this trap happens, is that logically and on paper, in the human experience, what you're thinking right now makes sense. But when you are operating from your creator identity, from the idea that I am a spiritual or energetic being in a physical body, there are no rules. There is no if-then. You can be, do, and have anything that you want. And the only reason you don't have what you want is because of that limitation. You're telling yourself that I can't go on that vacation because I don't have the money. I can't hire that person because I don't have the money. Or I can't move into this new business because this business isn't solvent without me. It's literally creating a limitation of what I want. Instead of just saying, I want to go on this vacation and I'm going to fucking make it happen. Or I want to hire this person and I'm just going to make it happen. We tell ourselves that there's something else we want to do. And so that's what I'm really going to pull apart is how do we get out of the humanness of, right? Once we get out of this human identity and really focus into the more spiritual identity or the uncensored self identity. So I really want to talk about what is behind that belief. What is behind the belief that I can't have what I want until I do this other thing, that I have to wait to have this thing. And it's coming from fear. It's coming from lack. And it's coming from a sense of unworthiness. Underneath all of that is I am not good enough or I cannot have what I want yet. And there's something else I have to do to have the thing. And what winds up happening there again is you're not whole. You see yourself as I'm not whole. I'm not worthy. I'm not complete because I haven't achieved this other thing first. And that just continues to fuel your not enough story. And I think every single person, regardless of how successful you are, have a not enough story. And that again looks this way. Once this happens, then I will be happy, right? Once my business does X number of dollars in revenue, I'll be happy. Once I live in this neighborhood, then I'll be fulfilled. Once this happens, then we'll slow down. Do you see this? Do you see how we are constantly putting our success, our happiness, our fulfillment, what we want as outside of us? Because there's something inside of us that is not enough to have it now. That's what I'm talking about is the energetics, not the logical, tactical, is the money in the bank to do the thing? It is, how am I operating? Because if I am operating in a place of I can't have the thing, I am operating from an old identity, from victim consciousness, from a space of lack and limitation. And as long as you operate from a space of lack and limitation, you'll never achieve everything that you want to, not because you're not capable, not because you're not qualified, but because you continue to tell yourself that there is something else outside of you that is keeping you from having what you want. Because that's ultimately what you're saying. I can't have what I want until I earn it. I can't have what I want until I prove it. I can't have what I want until I'm good enough, or I know enough, or I'm successful enough, or I'm happy enough, or I've achieved enough to have it. And it continues to show you over and over and over again, day in, day out, how you are not good enough to have the thing that you want. That is what waiting and wanting is doing to you. And so the invitation here in this particular show is for you to step into the identity of creator, right? Step into the identity of creator. Because if I'm the creator of my reality and I want to go on that vacation, I'm going to figure out how the fuck to have that vacation. If I'm the creator of my reality and I want a transaction coordinator in my business to help me do things, I'm going to start hiring people or interviewing people now, right? If I know that hiring that particular coach is going to help me elevate who I'm being and what I want out of life, I'm going to start looking at that now. So what I'm asking you to do is energetically step into the identity of creator. If I'm the creator of my reality, which you are, and I can be, do, and have anything I want, which I can, how do I now view that thing outside of myself? Like, of course I should call the travel agent. Of course I should write the job description. Of course I should book a discovery call with that coach I want to hire. Of course I should start looking at listings in that neighborhood I want to live in. Because if I know that without a doubt it is done, because I am the creator of my reality, I'm not telling a story about all the things I have to do first. I'm preparing for it. And we're not preparing for it in an irresponsible way, meaning spending money you don't have, or, all that other stuff. But it really is thinking about, if it is inevitable that I get to have what I want, then I'm going to start moving forward like it is inevitable that I have what I want. And what is so fucking fun about this work is that when you start moving like the person who can be, do, and have anything they want and the creator of the reality, the shit that happens in your life is bananas. But you're not even taking those first steps because you're waiting. You're not even taking the first step of researching the vacation or calling the travel agent because you think you don't have the money. What if you start doing the research and you find out that that vacation is so much cheaper than you thought it was, right? And I'm going to give you a very real example of this. I'm going to give you a couple as we go through this, right? I have a girlfriend who told me a couple years ago that they spent like $25,000 on their spring break cruise that they went on. I think it was like a Disney cruise. And I was flabbergasted. I'm like, I don't know if there's any amount of money that I'm going to make where I'm going to want to spend $25,000 on a fucking Disney cruise. It's just no part of me, right? And then somebody else told me that they once worked with a luxury travel agent and he put together like $100,000 vacation for them to go to Bali. And again, maybe a time will come when there is enough money in my bank account where those dollar amounts don't feel silly to me. But to me, I'm like, that's not really the amount of money I want to spend on vacation in this season of life. This is not the identity that I align with. But what that wound up doing to me is making me think that like all vacations were expensive and out of my budget. And then, of course, when I started doing research and talking to people and finally got quotes for the vacations and the trips that I wanted to go on, I found that they were not actually nearly, they were not $25,000. They were certainly not $100,000, right? They were a few $1,000s that I could wrap my head around that. But what I mean is we don't even want to start planning the vacation because we have told ourselves we don't have the money for it. We don't even want to start interviewing assistants because we've told ourselves we can't afford it yet. But when you start planning the vacation and interviewing the assistants is when you tell the universe, I'm fucking ready. I'm ready now. I'm ready. I believe that it is done. Because if you believed without a shadow of a doubt it was done, you would be doing those things. This is where it comes from, acting as if, wearing the identity of creator. The identity of creator actually is somebody who's going out and planning for that thing. Otherwise, you're just saying like, it would be nice, right? It's just like a fucking picture on your dream board and you're not doing anything to move towards it. That's what waiting and wanting is. You're not doing anything to move towards what you have or what you want because you're telling yourself there's a limitation as to why you can't have it. And ultimately what winds up happening in that instance is we get stuck in this energy of waiting and wanting and waiting and wanting and waiting and wanting. And we never plan the vacation and we never hire the assistant. Or on the flip side, we wind up making the money and we don't plan the vacation because it's not enough, right? Well, now I don't think now is really the right time. Or, you know what? I've made it this far without an assistant. I'll be fine. Or, I don't really know if coaching is an investment I need to make right now. So I'm just not going to do that. Because when you are in waiting and wanting, there's no amount of money, there's no amount of time, there's no amount of preparation that is going to make you the person who plans the vacation, hires the transaction coordinator, or hires the coach, right? And I'm going to keep hammering home these examples because I think this is really important. Because again, if you knew without a shadow of a doubt that you were going to do whatever it was that you need to do to hire, to do the thing, to move forward, to do that next thing, to start looking for the property in that neighborhood, to start shopping for cars, if you knew it was inevitable that it was done, you would start doing that now. But because you're refusing to do that now because of the limitation, you're creating this gap and you're creating this identity of somebody who doesn't get what she wants. And that is what I want to break. That is the story, the takeaway I want you to have from this conversation here today, is that if I am really, truly owning my identity as the creator of my reality, and I really, truly want to hire that person, go on that trip, buy that house, drive that car, move to that neighborhood, I would be thinking about it now. I would be taking action towards it now. And if you are not, you have to ask yourself, why? What's the limitation? What's the story? And for most of us, the story is going to be money, because that's just the story we tell ourselves. It's the easiest scapegoat. It's the one we've had most of our life, right? Like, well, it just doesn't make sense to spend the money on that right now. It just doesn't make sense to hire that person right now. I just, but where that comes from, I want to tell you where that comes from, is it comes from, I am not confident in my ability to create more. I am not confident in my ability to create more. That's the energy that you put out in waiting and wanting. I am not comfortable hiring the money or spending the money to hire an assistant because I am not confident that I'm going to be able to make enough money the month after that, and the month after that, and the month after that to pay the assistant. Or I am afraid to spend the money in my savings account on that vacation because what if I don't make more money? Again, I hope you're following me here, because basically what I'm communicating to you is when you say no, not yet to the universe says no, not yet. And you constantly live in this space of not enough, and there's no amount of money or logical explanation that's going to move you forward, because this isn't logical. When you live in your logical mind, you're living in what Wallace D. Wattles, in the first quarter of 2025, I'm studying the book, The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles. The name just escaped me for a hot second. And he talks about the creative plane versus the competitive plane, right? And so this really logical place that you're living is this competitive plane, this place where I can run out of money. I can run out of time. I can possibly not repeat these results. That is the competitive plane. When you're living in the creative plane, which means you are living in wearing the identity of creator, it doesn't matter how much money you spend, because there's always more coming, right? Of course, you should hire the assistant so that you can make space for more business to come in. Of course, you should be looking for houses in that neighborhood, because of course you're going to have the money. Of course, you're going to pull out of your house what you need to make the down payment on that property, right? Because in the creative plane, I am the creator of my reality, which means there is no limitation to what I can have. And so what you are doing when you continue to create these logical explanations of why you can't have the things that you want is you continue to live in this competitive plane, and you continue to see nominal growth, and you never feel safe to take action towards the thing you want, because you are constantly fearful that you're not going to be able to continue to pay those bills, pay that person, afford that mortgage, whatever story it is you're telling yourself about why you can't have what you want. Right? That is thinking from a competitive plane. That is thinking from a very human, 3D, logical perspective. And that's not what we're doing here. If you want to go live in logic land, go ahead. But what we do here is we realize that we are the creators of our reality, and there is no limitation. So I don't have to wait and want. I can just fucking have it. And when I see myself as somebody who has that thing, I start taking action towards it. Right? And like I said, oftentimes this winds up coming down to money. And my next episode, I've already outlined it for you guys, is about money, and it's going to be so fucking good. But really what it is, it's about trust. It's about self-trust, not taking action towards what you want because of some limitation says, I don't trust myself to create more. I don't trust myself to be enough to continue to be in this. I don't feel comfortable pursuing this thing that I want because I don't think I should have it, right? So I want you, for just a second, if you're driving, obviously don't do this, but I want you to close your eyes, right? And imagine that thing you've been putting off, the vacation, the hiring help, investing in yourself, a form of coaching or a retreat. Like, what would it feel like to have that now, right? What does it feel like to be on that vacation, on that beach, on that mountain, at that winery, hiking those mountains right here, right now? If you're watching this on YouTube, my eyes are closed with you, right? Like, what does it feel like in your body? And really get into it. Like, if you can feel this for a couple of minutes, a lot of people say it's 68 seconds. 68 seconds is what it takes for the law of attraction to start bringing more thoughts to you that match the ones that you're putting out. But really hold on to that. And then ask yourself, what is really stopping me? Because what you're probably going to discover is it's not actually the money or the time or the effort or the bad timing that you're saying that it is. And it is a lack of faith and trust in yourself to continue to create at the level that you're creating, to be able to sustain that thing that you want. So you continue to put it off. And as long as you continue to put it off because you think it is outside of you, there is no amount of time or money that is finally going to make you feel like it is safe to move forward with that. It is safe to move forward with that investment. It is safe to move forward with that hire. It is safe to move forward with that investment in my time or whatever it is. Because again, it is still outside of you. And the work that I do with my clients is how do we gather up all of that energy that we have out in the world and bring it back and put it inside of us and realize that I am the source of money. I create my own economy. I am the source of business. I am my own source. Stacey used to call this being self-sourced. The name of her business is Soul Charge. And she's talked about being self-sourced. You are the creator of your reality, which means the money, the vacation, the client, all the things that you want are inside of you. But in waiting and wanting, they're outside of you. This is separation at its finest, right? The law of it's the transmutation of energy, right? Like we are all energy. We are all one, right? It's a little woo, but again, physics will get into it with energy. Spirituality gets in it with, souls and spirits and all the different things. But one way or the other, we are all just energetic beings and we are all connected. Right? We all come from the same source. We are all made from the same thing. We are all connected, which means you are the money. You are the clients. You are the vacation. You are the team that you build, right? All the fears and the stories you have about how it's not going to work out, or I'm not going to be able to sustain this, or am I good enough? Do I deserve this? Am I the type of person that goes on that type of vacation? Am I running the type of business that actually has employees? Can I really walk away from this business and rebuild something else that I really fucking want? All comes from a lack of trust in yourself and an identity that does not align with being the creator of your reality. Because again, when you're wearing your identity creator, there's not anything you can't fucking do. There's not anything you can't create because it's all inside of you. You just think it's outside of you, which is why you're waiting and wanting, because you keep waiting and you keep wanting. I'm just going to wait. I'm just going to wait. And before you know, be honest with yourself. How long have you been waiting to do that thing? So the real opportunity here, right? The actionable thing for you right now is to think about what it is that I want. And what beliefs do I have about why I can't have it? And are those beliefs true? And what you're going to find that 99% of those beliefs are not true. 99% of the reasons why you are telling yourself you cannot have what you want are not factually true. They are stories in your head. They are stories in your head. And there's one of you right now thinking, but no, Ryan, really, it doesn't make sense financially for me to hire this person or to do this thing or to move forward in this way. And I'm going to call bullshit. I'm going to call bullshit because again, if you, without a shadow of a doubt, believed that you were going to achieve what you wanted to, you would find a way. You would find a fucking way. And I know that because I have found ways. You have found ways. There's never been a time in your life that you have not found ways to do what it is you want to do and what it is you need to do to get what you want. You just have this continual not enough story, which is fueled by an identity that is not yours, that you did not create, that was programmed into you. That is why you think there's any chance of you not being able to afford that thing, not being able to make time for that thing, not being able to build a new business, even though you've already built one. It all comes from a lack of trust in your identity as creator. So when you go through that list of reasons why you believe you can't have what you want, you're going to go through them because they're going to tell you, well, I don't have enough time. Bullshit. How much time do you spend scrolling social media and watching TV and binge watching Netflix? You have fucking time, right? You're going to say, I don't have money. I don't have enough money for that, right? How many of you are sitting on some fucking emergency savings account waiting for a rainy day when you're the fucking rainy day? How many of you are sitting on a line of business credit that you could absolutely positively use to invest in your new business venture, but you're afraid to do it because you're afraid you're not going to succeed? How many of you are telling yourself that I don't know enough to do this thing, or I don't have enough time, or people aren't going to buy this, or this is too hard, right? None of those things are fucking true unless you just really don't want that thing. Because in my experience, both personally and with my client, when we want something and we truly fucking believe that it is meant for us and we are meant for it, there is nothing that will stop you unless you let that voice in your head tell you that you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you don't know enough, and you have to wait. Because waiting energy only gets more waiting energy, which is why you've been waiting for so fucking long. Instead of just deciding, I want this, I'm going to have it, and I'm going to start taking action towards it today. So whatever your thing is that you have been waiting for, I want to do this, but I got to wait. I want to do this, but I got to wait. Whatever that is for you, what can you do today? What decision can you make? How can you move forward? I'm going to give you another example. I'm going to give you another story. Braces. You guys are watching me. I have braces. And I have wanted braces for years. I have wanted to fix my teeth for a very long time. And I told myself a lot of stories about it, right? I didn't have time. I didn't know if that's how I wanted to allocate money, all the different things, right? There were a lot of stories. And then finally I realized that I was like, what the fuck are you doing? Just go see a dentist. Just book the consultation. And what do you know, when I booked the consultation and went and sat down with the orthodontist, not only was it less money than I thought, the whole process was shorter, it was easier, it was faster. And within a couple of weeks, I put my braces on. And I've been in braces for, 2 or 3 months now. My teeth look fucking amazing. And it's amazing. But for 6 months, I told myself I had to wait. I wanted braces, but I had to wait. And I wanted braces and I had to wait. But I asked myself the question, if I knew without a shadow of a doubt that I could afford it, that it was a good way to allocate funds, that it was going to look this way, and this way, would I do it? Of course, the answer was yes. So I started booking appointments. And what do you know? It has worked out fucking perfectly for me to get braces. And I'm loving it, loving it. Years I waited, years. And I'm like 60 days into this experience thinking, why the fuck did I not do this a decade ago? Other than the waiting and the wanting, Because right now you are waiting for something outside of you to tell you that you are good enough, that you are smart enough, that you can have it, that you deserve it, that it's meant for you. And that's not fucking coming, because it is up to you and only you, as the creator of your reality, to decide that you are done waiting. Everything that you desire is yours. And that the only reason that you do not have it is because of the story you tell yourself. What do you need to take action on today? What do you need to start moving towards to do that thing that you have been putting off? I challenge you to do it. Do it. One simple thing. Book the fucking orthodontist appointment. Reach out to your travel agent friend. Write the job description. Book the sales. Thank you for tuning in to the Uncensored Self podcast. If you're walking away with a new perspective, some fresh inspiration, or the push you needed to show up as your uncensored self, I'd love to hear about it. Share this episode, leave a review, and don't forget to hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. Remember, success isn't about following somebody else's rules. It's about owning who you are, deciding what you want, and going after it unapologetically. Until next time, keep leading, keep creating, and stay uncensored. Call with the coach. Start thinking about who you would hire as your real estate agent if you were actually going to buy that property. Start researching cars that you want. Start fucking acting like it is a possibility for you, and you will be blown away what comes together for you. Because waiting and wanting is going to have you waiting for a very, very long time. I'll see you next week.